Hello, Toria here. Today I'd like to tell you a bit about my life. There has been a rumour that I am 90 years old. Well, that could be true. That might not be true. But today you're going to find out. I was actually born in 1950, in the middle of the year, so that was June the 21st. And I was born just normally, without a disability. But at the time, there was a staffing shortage at the hospital because of it being winter. And there was a lovely young girl, just 16 years old, that wanted to help with the babies. And so there was one nurse that let her do that. And so she picked me up and she slipped and she dropped me. And I understand that I hit my head and I went unconscious, and from there I died. But luckily there was a specialist that was visiting next door, and he actually came and gave me some adrenaline and brought me back to life. And so actually they didn't know at that time that I was disabled. But it became clear when I couldn't hold my head up and I didn't start crawling or walking. But there was one amazing thing that did happen, and that was that I began to talk at 6 months. And by 18 months, I could read simple books. So the brain was pretty good, and the doctors had to admit that the brain was good, but the body was a wreck. And it seemed that I was paralysed in my left arm and right leg, and so I was unable to sit up properly or crawl, and later I was not able to walk. But at 2 years old, they decided to put me in the hospital so that I could have physiotherapy, and they thought that maybe that would help. And it did, but not much. So at the time there was a unit for cerebral palsy people opening up, and I was sent there when I was 5. And this unit had 20 children who also had cerebral palsy, and we went under a physiotherapist for intensive training. I was there for 5 years, and when I was 10, I began to walk. Not well, I might say, but I was walking. And so, because I could walk, I was sent home. And that was a great thing for me, because I was brought into the family, and I learned how to be a family member. It took 1 or 2 lessons, because living in the hospital for those 10 years, I didn't know how to defer to other people, and I had to learn all that. So that was a great thing for me. And then as I went into my teenage years, I became a bit of a handful. And that was during the 60s, 1960s, during the drug addiction thing. But I wasn't interested in drugs, but I loved the booze. And one might say that by 18, I was an alcoholic and that. But one day, before that, I decided to go back to school because I wanted to get a good job. So I went back to school to get some more things, what do you call them? Ability to be able to up my job skills. And while I was there, Billy Graham came to town, and some of his people came to the school, and they talked me into coming to see Billy Graham. So I went to Billy Graham in that, and he really touched my heart with his preaching. And the next day, I went to see a Methodist minister, and I gave my life to Jesus. And that actually did change my life. Not immediately, but in the ensuing years, things began to change. I began going to church, and my favourite church was an Anglican church, and I learned to be able to share my faith and that, and to be able to walk in a way that would be pleasing to God. From there, I decided to go to Bible college. So I went to an island called Great Barrier Island, and I was there for 3 years. And I got a certificate for Bible college, and then I came to where I am today in Hamilton. Now, in the ensuing years, I did quite a bit. I was very social and did a lot of stuff in town, visiting people and being quite social with with friends and that. I also became a journalist, and also I began to write my first book in 1980. And so I began to write, and it was something that would become very important to me. Now, in 1981, I was very social, and I went to a Bible study one day with some friends, and we were going to have dinner. And they were cooking the dinner, and I was sitting listening to a country singer singing Bible songs. All of a sudden, I felt tired, so tired I couldn't sit up, and I fell forward. Now, it wasn't known then, but I was having what they call a silent heart attack. There was no pain, but I just breathed out, and I could no longer breathe in, and I was outside my body. And I was looking around, thinking, oh, this is new. And I wasn't afraid at all. In fact, I felt pretty good. And I wondered what the next step was, but I soon realised that I was not living. And so the next step was heaven. And I could actually see my own body slumped over the chair. And then one of my friends, Tom, he saw what that things went right. And so he said to his wife, there's something wrong with Toria, we better go and have a look. So they came over and called me, and I couldn't respond, of course. And so they decided to pray for me, because they just thought that I was unconscious. And so they began to pray. Now, in my neck of the woods, I was sitting there, standing there out of my body, watching it all. Next thing, a voice spoke to me, and I do believe this was the voice of Jesus. And he said to me, you must go back. And I said, oh, no, I don't want to go back. And I didn't want to go back because I felt freer than I had ever felt in my life. And I felt free of the cerebral palsy. And I've had no desire to go back. He said, yes, you must go back. I said, oh, no, I really don't want to. I'm just going on to heaven. And he said, you must go back because there is something that you have to do. Now, those that know me know that I'm a very inquisitive person. And so I decided to check out this thing that I must do. And so I decided, yes, I would go back, because I was very interested to know what my destiny was. And so next thing you know, it was like somebody was pumping air into my lungs. They had been totally deflated, but now they were filling with air. And as they filled with air, I became aware of my surroundings in the house, and I was back. Now, I had no residual effects of having had that heart attack. I could get up and walk. I could see everything pretty good. But one thing that has stayed with me is I have a heightened ability to smell things like good food, beautiful flowers, and sometimes I can tell what they're having for dinner. in the house next door. So that's very interesting, isn't it? So I became a reporter, and I visited people in hospital, and I had a Bible study for disabled people, and I was generally a very social person. Well, I still am actually. And so I get to the 90s, and I find myself with a small business, and I ran that business for round about uh, 3 years maybe. But I wanted to do something else. So then I decided to go to university, and I got a degree, a double degree, in history and Spanish language. And in my first year there, I wrote and produced a small play and that. So my social skills were very high, well, they still are. Um, so I got my degree, and then I decided to continue my writing. So I finished my first book and had that published, and that was The Chrysalis. And I did do a story about my life, but I'm redoing that at the moment because I wasn't happy with the way I wrote it. And then I wrote Undercover Miss Speedy Wheels, and my third book, my fourth book, yeah, that's right. My fourth book is called The Forgiveness Files. Um, so I've done quite a bit in my life, and although I'm not 90, really, I do look quite old. Now, but this reminds me of a story about a lady I met in the 70s, 1970s. Her name was Auntie Moo, and she was the loveliest lady you would ever meet. And I used to go to her place every Thursday. I think it was a Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday. And she would put on a very extravagant afternoon tea. And she did all the cooking. She and her sister did all the cooking. And it was absolutely beautiful. The one day that I looked forward to was Wednesday or Thursday, whichever it was, and that was going to Auntie Moo's for tea, for afternoon tea. But Auntie Moo, she must have been in her 50s or 60s, but she had a lot of wrinkles on her face. She might have been a little older. I was only 25, 26 at the time, so I wasn't too good on telling people's ages. And so Auntie Moo was very upset with her wrinkled face. Um, so she would go on Sunday to see the pastor, and she would say, "Pastor, why has God allowed me to have all these wrinkles? And and I need prayer for my wrinkles." Now, men, as you know, don't think of them, they're sometimes a bit unwise with what they say. And the pastor used to, when she said to her, what shall I do about my wrinkles? Is God going to heal me of my wrinkles? Well, he would say, if the barn needs painting, paint it. And what he meant was, of course, put some makeup on. So he wasn't very helpful to Auntie Moo. Now, as you can see, I have no paint on my face, and apart from my teenage years, I never really had anything on my face because I just don't feel happy. It's like I've got a mask on, and I never did like it. So I've left my face unpainted, and but that's what they say. If the barn needs painting, paint it, and that's a man for you. Eh? But I enjoy my life, whatever I look like, and uh, I'm working on other books, and you can see me online. I've got 2 websites. One is torianewman.com, and the other one is MissSpeedyWheels.com. So you can see me there, and I hope that you subscribe to my channel and like the video so that lots of people who want to see it and that. And thank you for listening. I have enjoyed talking to you.